I hope I can be of help to you, knight.
У тебя ожерелье, пана Птачека?
Are you the one who played dice with Lord Capon?
Played and won, lad. Fine noble he may be, but he can no more throw dice than I can read Latin.
I can't disagree with you there. But look here, have you still got that piece of jewellery you won from him?
No, I don't. Some noble rode through here and we had a game or two. Only them dice kept falling his way. I was lucky to keep my boots. He's got the necklace now.
Куда он отправился?
Do you know where this fellow was heading?
He was waiting for someone here, but when they didn't show up by midday, he rode on. He mentioned something about camping by the bridge over the Sasau River. That one before the charcoal burners camp. You might still catch him there with a bit of luck.
There aren't many fords along the river on the way to Sasau.
Как он выглядел?
Can you tell me anything else about him?
Fine gent he was, well dressed, on horseback. Had quite a lot to say. Seems he saw a bit of the world. And he had some interesting looking dice.
You said they fell well for him?
Aye, and no wonder. Fine dice they was, made special, all shiny and whatnot.
That's all I need to know.
Good luck to you.
Так, и куда вы отправили? Ага, ну да, мы тут были. Прискакал я на это место. Так, и что тут? Ага. Не его ли? Понял. Генри попал.
After something? I'm afraid my friend here won't tell you much.
Your friend? Oh, I'm very sorry. And, well, I don't want to be insensitive, but I was hoping to get something from him. My master's necklace, which he won at dice.
Your master? Who would that be?
Well, Sir Radzig Cobbler of Skalitz is my liege lord. I'm Henry, but just now I'm helping Sir Hans Capon with a private matter.
Those are weighty names in these parts. I'm Sir Anselm of Domkey, in the service of... well, that's not important. I'd like to give you... that is... I'd like to ask you for your help.
Окей, я слушаю.
I'm listening. Tell me what you know.
I will. And I'm sure it will help you find that necklace. The thing is, this is all my fault. I got held up on the way to meet Alphonse. By the time I got here, I found him like this.
God have mercy on his soul.
Amen, lad. I was heartbroken and enraged by turns, tearing my hair and cursing. Alphonse was my good friend, and it pains me to know he was only here on account of me. I brought him into a certain business matter to negotiate with some people, and he agreed. And this is how it ended up. When I finally pulled myself together, I took a look around and found some tracks. I followed them to the camp of those very brigands that Alphonse was supposed to negotiate with.
Nah, you can't trust anyone these days. So how can I help?
You can pass yourself off as Alphonse. Get into the bandits' camp and find that fucking murderer. And when you do, you'll find what you're looking for.
Выдавая себя за пана Альфонса. Я должен буду выдать себя за Альфонса?
That doesn't make any sense. If one of them killed Alphonse, he'll know I'm not him.
No. They never saw him before. So whoever killed him surely took him for some passing merchant.
Are you quite sure they don't know him?
Aye. He moves in altogether different circles, among decent people. That's the very reason I asked him for help. So I reckon the best thing is for you to introduce yourself as Alphonse, have a snoop around, and come back to me when you find out anything.
Почему вы сами этого не сделаете?
Now, wouldn't it be better if you did that yourself? After all, I know nothing about this Alphonse. They'd see through me.
I'd do it if I could, lad. Only they know me, and I'm not on the best of terms with them. They'd most likely kill me on sight. Then the two of us would be dead and those bastards would get away with it.
Well, I hope I can avoid the same fate.
Чего мне следует опасаться, выдавая себя за Альфонса?
Is there anything else I should watch out for while passing myself off as Alphonse?
The main thing is to look and sound like a noble, not a peasant, a commoner. So dress the part. No rags or rusty iron.
Понятно. Убийство. Как же мне распознать убийцу?
And how am I supposed to recognize the killer?
Ask around. I don't reckon anyone will admit to stabbing him in his sleep, but you might pick up some clue. You could have a look around for that necklace. Now that I think of it, they stole other valuables from him too.
Silver is silver, though. I won't recognize anything. Didn't he have something unique? A signet ring or chain or...
No, not that I can... Oh yes, he did. Dice. He had a set of dice made specially in Prague. It was his pride and joy. They were red and gold, bright and shiny. Not the kind of thing you'd overlook.
Расскажите мне побольше об убитом.
What can you tell me about Alphonse? So they don't catch me out if they start asking questions.
Indeed. A few details should suffice. He was from Slani, but lived in Prague the last few years. He advised people, very well too. He helped them to deal with problems, of all kinds.
Yeah, he sounds like a man of the world, but I've never even been to Prague. I'm not sure I can fool them.
You can always change the subject. He was an ardent dice player, God forgive him. And he spent some time in Moravia on the service of Prokop of Luxembourg. But that was ages ago.
Переговоры с паном Лукашем. Что вам известно об этих разбойниках?
What do you know about the brigands in that camp?
Actually, they're not just ordinary bandits. It's a robber baron and his band. Sir Erhard Baron Bielowitz. Some of his vassals and maybe some commoners. They came here in the hope they'd have a better chance of keeping their heads.
Why don't you ask some of the local lords for help? I'm sure the Sasau custodian would lend you a few men.
There's nothing I'd like to see more than a lot of them strung up. Only I have a task that conflicts with that. And as for the custodian, I'm pretty sure Sir Sebastian is in league with Erhard.
А о чем должен был повести переговоры пан Альфонс?
What was the purpose of Sir Alphonse's negotiations? I'll need to know that.
Look, Henry, you'd best avoid that subject if at all possible. Just find the murderer for me, get your necklace, and I'll take care of the rest.
It'll be a bit hard to avoid that, since it was supposed to be the entire purpose of his visit.
True. Well, Alphonse was supposed to talk Erhard into moving his robbing raids towards Benishov, especially holding up merchants' wagons heading for Prague. In return, he was to offer a reward of up to 12,000 groschen and safe haven in Pilgrims.
I see. So you work for someone in Pilgrims?
No, neither Pilgrims nor Benishov, nor Vlachin for that matter. It's a bit complicated. Damn politics.
Какой же из задницы все... Так, а почему я тут белая? Да. Какой же с задницы все обернулось?
My word. The whole thing sounds like quite a twisted affair.
So are you going to help me?
Помогу, я не могу помочь, у меня своей мороки хватает, я вам не верю, вы сами его убили. Да помогу.
I'll help you. I'll have to go, though, to look for the necklace anyway. And this seems as good a way as any.
Thanks 1,000-fold. And for the love of God, don't get caught. I'd never forgive myself if another man lost his life on my account. If it starts to look risky, take to your heels.
I'll bear that in mind.
Так, а просить о чем-то можно? Ни о чем.
No more questions.
Пока. Что тут у вас разбросано? О, собака сыт. Этот сидит, этот лежит. Все нормально.
Someone was searching for something here. Were they out to rob him of everything he had? Or something in particular?
Но везде можно поспать. Плевать, что произошло.
Could it be someone was trying to get rid of something here?
Обгоревшая карта какая-то.
Looks like he died without a struggle. Maybe killed in his sleep. They took everything he had. Money, jewelry, even his boots.
Даже здесь можно спать. Не отодвигая его. Это прекрасно. Так, шпоры лежат. Рот закрой. говорит, тебе нужна, ну, помочь как-нибудь, говорит. Из-за того, что я присел. Так, обгоревшая карта. Кости нарисованы. Че, где-то поиграть можно? Сазава. Перешел через мост. Ну вот, я смотрю, просто видишь, Сазава, под Сазавой монастырь. Ну вот, монастырь, под Сазавой река. Перешел через мост. Это где я, собственно, перешел через мост. И дальше вдоль реки. И оно слева. Оно. Вот это вот место. Тут оно уже отметили сами, я понял. Ну вот, да, вот так идти. Понятно. Тебе что-нибудь рассказать можно? Извини, мне неизвестно кто. Ага. Еще никуда не уходил, уже это. Можно ответить. Посмотреть.
It looks like someone went this way with the nobleman's horse.
Кто-то этим путем скакал на панской лошади. Откуда ты знаешь? Возможно, в грязи там следы, но сложно отличить. И понять, что это вообще стоит внимания. Видел, собака под водой стояла. Ну, лагерь, походу, эти углежоги. Это те углежоги, к которым я не ходил. Когда давно с Прибыславицей разбирался. И надо было разобраться. Откуда уголь поставлять. Но я поговорил с друзьями Рыжего, и все. А на самом деле можно было бежать аж сюда. Но я сюда решил не бежать. Ну, тут ничего интересного. Углежоги и углежоги. Причем этот лагерь у меня уже был открыт. И, кстати, тут уже открылось, стрельбище есть. Углежок. Сидите, отдыхайте, ладно. Да, вот это вот интересно. Ну как интересно, я имею в виду опасно. Когда какие-то углежоги где-то в отдалении, просто кто-то мог бы из лесу выйти, зарезать, раздеться, бросить все. И все. Спокойно убиваешь, и никто тебя не найдет. Вышка наверху. А что за вышка наверху? Она где-то вот здесь. Возможно, это именно то место, куда мне надо. Интересно здесь, как много пасхалок. Не хочется, конечно, их искать, потому что я слишком долго топчу этот мир уже. Да и в принципе здесь, как это может все выражаться, тоже мне интересно. Но одна пасхалка была. Вот мужик свою дочь искал. Я не знаю, кто это на самом деле, дочь не дочь. Но помнишь, я по дополнению отряд ублюдков, или как-то так, бежал за самым лоховым вот этой вот крысой, которая там сдала своего командира отряда. И там же заодно квест, типа он ушел со шлюхой, а на самом деле это не шлюха, а они специально там в сговоре. Она и мужик. Или отец, не знаю. И он такой, типа, где она? А когда она сбегала, он такой, ах, она шлюха. Ну, то есть, видно было, что разрыв происходит между любовью и на самом деле заговор какой-то. Так, это я уже убегаю не туда. Ну, вот эта отсылка, я не помню к кому. Я не помню имен. Но в мире, да, есть достаточно известные ребята, которые там Вдвоем. Парочка. Грабили, убивали. Не помню, как их назвать, но они вроде, я помню, еще и погибли вместе. Их расстреляли. Вот так же и здесь. Парочка. Ну и где ваш лагерь? Так, ну я так сместился, что я, наверное, где-то здесь бегаю. Надо чуть-чуть вот сюда. Ой, опять бегать по лесам. Что-то ходить, искать. Вот тропа какая-то. Может, куда-то приведет. Нашел какое-то поселение. Угу. Я не помню, может быть, я здесь и был, поэтому стрельбище открыто. Что-то я не уловил этот момент. Может, я пробежал, тут было пусто и убежал. Я не помню. Ага, невидимая стена, видишь? Отлично. Объяви о своем прибытии у входа в лагерь. Ну, я думаю, что можно прокрасться. Но с другой стороны... С другой стороны, зачем? Возможно, это не вход. Надо найти вход. Так. Можно красться, но... Да я бы... Блин, резко так стена появилась. Я думаю, можно обыграть. О. Можно здесь прокрасться. Ну, по-любому можно, в общем. Еще здесь можно прокрасться. Тут закрыто. Здорово.
Would I be right in assuming this is the encampment of Sir Erhard, Baron Bielewitz?
You must be Sir Alphonse, eh? All the way from Prague, eh?
Из Праги, но через Коржн.
Prague, yes, quite. But I travelled via Guren, thinking it the less hazardous route, comparatively.
Oh, aye. The roads ain't safe at all these days. There's all sorts of rabble waiting to rob unwary folk and even kill them.
Indeed, indeed, I concur. One must be wary, well, cautious even, when travelling.
Right then, but you'll have to wait a while. Sir Erhard is busy at the moment.
No matter, I shall just,
but it's easy to pass the time here. There's always a dice game going on, with nice things being wagered. I had my eye on a fine pair of gauntlets, and some old piece of jewelry.
Jewelry, you say?
That's right. Just go and see old Blaha, the fellow sitting at that table there. He can read, write, and do sums as good as any scribe, and other things, too. He keeps things in shape here a bit.
Thank you. I may well do that.
Благо. Разбойник. Прими участие в турнире по игре в кости. Турнир. То есть это несколько ты понял, раундов. Старик Благо. Что у вас тут еще есть? Вот еще можно здесь пройти. Вон. Сундук. Возможно, даже в этом сундуке что-то и лежит. Так. А он меня увидит? Он куда-то собирается. Он развернулся. Пустой. Блин. Я уже хотел закончить все преждевременно. Ну давай я погляжу, мало ли, может быть, есть еще один ящик. Так, пехуна какой-то. Опа, интересно. Тихо, тихо, тихо. Возможно, там... Возможно, все там лежит. Барбос, лучник. Здорово. Я слышал, что здесь можно сыграть в кости. Кто ты?
Can you tell me something about yourself?
What can I tell you? I can read and write a bit, and I help Sir Erhart out when he needs it. Although, I have to say, since the Baron took to robbing, there's not much work for me anymore.
And what did he do before that?
What every landed noble does. He still had some estates and income from them, only he lost it all some years ago on account of debts. So he had to find some other livelihood.
Как ты нашел это место?
How did you find this place?
That was my doing. I heard from a scribe about some ownership feud that ended up badly for both sides. Since then, it's been left neglected.
Oh, that's a shame. No doubt it was once a fine place.
Aye, the vagaries of fortune, eh? Times are harsh and what have you. It's always been that way and always will. I wonder how many burned out, abandoned ruins will be left when Sigismund withdraws. How many folk will have no homes to return to? And how many won't be returning ever? But that's our lot in this vale of tears. There'll be no peace and quiet till the next life.
Amen to that.
Слышал, что здесь можно сыграть.
I was told I could have a game or two here until Sir Erhart has time to see me.
Aye, he's got his hands full at the moment. You must be Sir Alphonse, eh? I'm Blaha, Sir Erhart's servant. I take care of things here a bit.
Including dice? It has come to my attention that there are interesting things being wagered.
True enough, we've got a fine pair of plate gauntlets, 2 necklaces, one of them's a lovely piece, a good sharp sword, and some other things, I don't remember what. The custom here is if you want to play, you've got to wager something to join.
Так, тогда мне тоже придется что-нибудь поставить. Это деньги. Я ваш гость, должен платить за развлечение. Я бы хотел поставить на кон что-нибудь, но у меня ничего нет. Хотел бы, но ничего нет.
I regret I have no valuables on my person. I thought it wiser to travel light on account of thieves.
Well, under the circumstances, it wouldn't be polite to deprive you of a bit of entertainment while waiting. You want to play right away, or...?
Сыграю.
Why wait? I'll play now.
No beating around the bush. That's the way. You'll play against Noggin now. He's not the brightest, and he ain't a good loser.
Поэтому башка его и прозвали. Я думаю, игра точно такая же, ничего уникального. До 6000. Интересно, сколько раундов. Так, 5, 5, 5, 1, 2, 3. Сложить или не сложить? Давай-ка пока не буду. Так, я забыл уже кнопки. Передача худаку, а это просто... Вот, F надо. Уже забыл, какие кнопки жать, чтобы ход не пропустить. Так, 1, 1, 6. 1, 1. Ну ладно. Можно было бы и рискнуть, но не хочу. Какие-то косточки неудачные. Повезло. Так, 5, 5, 5, 2, 4, 6. Что дальше? Рисково, рисково, рисково. Ладно, сброшу. Я уже так давно не играл просто, и поэтому раш пропал. 1, 1, 2, 3. Единицу отложил. 2, 2, 2, 5, 5. А теперь ему повезло. Единицу сбросил. У него опять полностью все. То есть опять перебрасывает все. Нормально он так отыгрался. Но ничего, ничего. У меня вот все единицы, например. 8000 сразу. Прикинь, следующий раунд раз и неудача. Вот это вам как раз. Хотя зачем я, блин, да сбрось-то уже и все. 1, 2, 2, 2. Все, заканчиваем. Они, наверное, таких цифр даже не видели. 8000.
Sir, I challenge you to a duel.
Да, окей.
I won't take any accusations from you. I accept.
Ой, еще и драться. Я тебя молотком сейчас отдубашу. Ну давай, что за... Я же нажал Q, а что ты не отбиваешь, я не понял. Драться я не разучился, что ты... Звук как будто на деревяшках деремся. А что ты не блочишь? Я не понял. Я так идеально мастер страйк бы сделал уже несколько раз, а что-то бой пропускает. Блок пропускается. Не понял, что за херня происходит. Ладно. Отпустить, разоружив, заставить можно так всех убить. Продолжить бой, например. Заставить заплатить, отпустить, разоружив, отпустить без условий.
Take your hardware and get the hell out of my sight.
Yes, God bless you.
Все? Вали давай отсюда. Всех с лагеря прогнал, прикинь. Так. Можно про правила спросить?
Have you got any special rules?
Nothing out of the ordinary. Just remember, we're not some bunch of dirty bandits. This is the camp of a noble knight, so no unnecessary brawls, stabbings, or such like tomfoolery. Not that I need to explain that to you, sir.
Quite. Nothing else?
Well, that also means a man might take offense at something and challenge you to a duel. Always swords, and until first blood.
Ah, very well. I shall try not to give offense.
Ну, я вроде не оскорбил, мы посражались, отпустил.
I want to play dice. Who will be my opponent?
They fell your way last time, and no mistake. You'll play Berta. He's a man, but they call him that for some reason. Damned if I know why.
Ну шо, Бланка? Ты готов? Так, что у меня? 1-1, 1. Есть пятиха. Ладно. Пропущу. Хотя не надо было, ну ладно. Просто 3 единицы, мне нравится. Все, заканчиваю. Отлично. А у меня снова 3 единицы и пятиха. Рискнуть? Давай рискну. Что сейчас выпадет? Вижу единицу. Единицу видел же, нет. Это была не единица, а тройка. И что сейчас? Все, давай сбрасывай. Сбросим. А у меня 1-1, 3-3, 5, что-то не очень. Ладно. 6-6-6 и пятерка. Рискнуть? Да ладно, не буду. Что у него? 1-1, 5. Но он решил сбросить единицу. А сейчас что? Тоже единицу. А сейчас пятерку. Неудача. Так, 5, 5, 5. Единица. Ладно, сброшу. На 750 отвалил нормально. А у меня 5, 5, 5. Опять эти 2, 2, 6. Давай пятерки мне все. Пятерки. Во. Вот это мне нравится. Там что-то красивое. Ну, почти. Пятерки. И единица. Тройка. Да, не подходит. Сброшу. Все. Что у тебя тут? 5, 5. Сейчас что сбросишь? Опять пятерку. Единицу. Неудача. А у меня что? 3, 3, 3. Нормально. Пятерка. Рискнуть, не рискнуть. Рискнуть, не рискнуть. Давай рискну. У меня, в принципе, от него отрыв нормальный. Единица и шестерка. Рискнуть. Ладно, не буду. Нажал F, а не Q. Но там пятерка упала. Повезло. Отлично. Что, сейчас единица, единица, единица. Пятерка. Так. Давай пятерку не буду, чтобы шанс на успех повысить. О, отлично, 3 шестерки. Чего дальше? Да можно, в принципе, уже сбрасывать. Все, отлично. Что, драться не будешь? Просто молча встал. Нормально. О, он, этот сказал, меня он сейчас примет. А что, поговорить нельзя еще? Мне-то нужно выиграть, мне плевать на этого Лукаша.
They fell your way last time, and no mistake. You'll play against Maladata. He's a bit... well... you'll see for yourself.
Мне же Лукаш нахер не нужен, мне нужно выиграть. Поэтому играем. Так, 5, 5, 5, 1, 2, 3. 1, 5, 4. Так. Ладно, рискну. Отлично. 1, 5. 1, 5, 5. Хотя, блин, некрасиво. Единицу. 1, 3, 4, 5, 5. Некрасиво. 1, 1, 5. Как думаешь? Не, сброшу. Смотри, какие кости. Это он убил. Ты понял? Это он. 3, 3, 3, 3, 5, 5. Так, 1, 1. Ну, ты понял. Пятерки, пятерки. Опа, пошла жара прям. Еще. Так, 3, 3, ля, 5. Прекрасно. Интересно, здесь есть такое, что слишком часто выигрываешь, и они такие, ах ты жулик. Все. Так, а я, получается, играю просто так. А если я хочу что-то выиграть? Я просто не понял, почему я не выигрываю. Просто потому что я ничего не поставил. Ладно, не буду я у него спрашивать ничего, я просто обыграю всех.
They fell your way last time, and no mistake. Then there's Pekuna. He's a local fellow who brings stuff for us. He put up a nice necklace as his wager.
Ты, что ли? Ну, давай посмотрим, на что ты способен. Сейчас еще обыграет меня. Что у меня? 5, 5, 3, 3. Так, 3, 3, 3. 5, 5. Оставить? Ну, я вот об этом. Ладно, сделаю вот так. О, отлично. 5, 5, 5. 1, 1, 1. Можно еще пятерку. Не, сброшу. Ну, в смысле, продолжу. Во. 3, 3, 3, 300 очков. Единица, единица, единица. Чувак, сейчас я поиграю, погоди, потом ты будешь ходить. А, ну вот сейчас пусть играет. Сейчас он как наберет 6000. Единицу сбросил. Вот это и до сих пор у меня нет. Которая как там, Джокер или как она называется. Но смысл ее понятен. Неудача. Так, единица. Да, сброшу ее одну. Опять. 3 пятерки. Ладно, пойдет. Единицу сбросим. Прям полностью комплект у него. Пошла у него жара. Пес сзади такой подошел. 500 очков сбросил. Ну-ка, ну-ка. Интересно. А, все закончилось в мою пользу. Че у меня? 3, 3, 3. 1, 1. Что тут будет? Рискнуть? Или не рискнуть? Ну, чтобы дальше продолжать играть. Давай вот так сделаю. Рискну. Но шанс повыше оставлю. Там 1,5, да? Отлично. О, 4 единицы. 2000. Это просто офигенно. Достижение получил. Видимо, всех выиграл. Узнаю у Благи, кто выиграл турнир. Я выиграл?
How did I do? Have I won?
Well now, Sir Alphonse, you took them all by storm. Here's the key to the prize.
Thank you kindly.
Так, это не здесь. Получи свой выигрыш в турнире по игре в кости. А почему вы мне не объясняете, где сундук? Так, слева от стрельбища. Это где-то здесь.
Fucking boring. The chief doesn't want to see you. No one to rob you.
Лукаш.
You've no business here. Clear off. Is something the matter?
Так, я не понял.
What was that noise?
Одежда какая-то.
Fuck. I'm almost sober again.
Для дали мне ключ, но я не могу открыть. Понял? То есть мне поговорить надо прям, что ли? Я не хочу с ним разговаривать. Выясни, кто убил пана Альфонса. Так, можно выяснить. Ну, не можно, а нужно. Так. Хорошо, надо поговорить вот с этим усатым. Вот он сидит. Можно мне задать вопрос?
Can I ask you something?
Ask away. Anything to pass the time.
Расскажи о себе.
You're Mladotter, right?
I am. Why'd you ask?
Just curious. This is quite an interesting retreat you men have here.
You could put it that way. I ain't been here long though. I helped them out of a tight spot and they took me with them.
Ну, давай, рассказывай.
Is that right? How did that happen?
Well, I was lying in wait for this wagoner, see? Because he'd been mouthing off about me, so I figured I'd take all he had for compensation. Anyway, I'm hiding there in the bushes, and I hear this wagon coming, so I jumped out to ambush him. Only it wasn't that wagoner, but some merchant. As soon as he saw me with my weapon drawn, he started screaming bloody murder, and next thing, his armed escort comes charging up and I was the one ambushed. The injustice of it.
Vexing indeed.
Aye. Anyway, they caught me and took me with them. They figured I was Sir Erhardt's spy, and they wanted me to lead them to him. Of course, I told them I didn't know what the fuck they were on about. So, while they were threatening to break me on the wheel, string me up and what have you, along comes the Baron with his merry band, and they lay into the soldiers and send them running for the hills. And ever since then, I've been riding with them.
That is quite an entertaining anecdote.
Ain't it just? If it hadn't been for me, the fellas would have run straight into a trap and it'd all be up with them. So, it's on account of me, they're still alive.
Ты хоть изредка покидал лагерь?
And how are things here? Do you get away much?
We ain't allowed to leave. So I've been here the whole time. I don't mind though. There's always something to pass the time. And we've got that wench.
Так, почему это белое?
I am.
Just curious.
You could put it that way.
Пробыл здесь недолго.
You must tell me all about it.
Ты уже рассказывал.
If you like.
Еще увидимся.
That's all.
Еще вопрос?
I'd like to...
Понятно, все то же самое. А, ну у него же кости эти. У него же кости того парниши. Смотри, видишь? Барбос. Так, здорово. Могу я задать
Can I
вопрос?
ask something?
I have nothing to do with cheats.
Так, но как думаешь, это он? Ну, мы это не выясним уже. С тобой разговаривать не о чем. Шлюшка из лагеря. А здесь всегда так?
What's going on here anyway? It all seems a little odd.
Haven't you ever been in the camp of a merry band of robbers?
Never quite this merry, to tell the truth.
They've got their loot, and now they want some fun. Booze, dice, and women. I'm the only girl here. Well, they're more interested in dice, anyway. And boozing. And they're no fun at all.
Well, they seem very fond of their dice, all right.
Aye, they always play the same way. Every player bets his most valuable piece of loot, and the winner takes all. It ends in a fight most times, although it's a long time since anyone got killed over it.
I better watch my step then.
You do that, handsome. It'd be a shame to spoil that pretty face.
Понятно. Так, ты же просто, да, безымянный разбойник. Ну, тут изуродованный труп. Где еще? Что за сундук у вас тут пустой? Еще и запертый. Это типа обманка? Безымянный, безымянный. Может, с лучником поговорить, младота? Нет. А, здесь вот бланка. А если стрела пролетит?
Can I ask you something?
Ask away.
Расскажи о себе.
Tell me something about yourself.
Why do you want to know? You want to spread the word about what a good dice player I am?
Yeah, I was just curious.
You know what they say. Curiosity killed the cat. But if you must know, they call me Berta. And I'm Sir Erhardt's right-hand man.
Berta?
Ah, you heard of me, have you? The Scourge of Vlashim. No man who felt the edge of my axe lived to tell the tale.
Почему вы здесь?
And why are you hiding out here?
I wouldn't call it hiding. We're just having a bit of a rest.
From what?
Things were getting a bit too hot for us. Nobody bothers us here. Just as long as we don't show our faces in Sasau.
Вы иногда покидаете лагерь?
Don't you leave the camp at all?
What are you trying to say? That we're shitting ourselves here?
Я вовсе не это имел в виду.
No. I was just wondering if you knew what's going on around these parts.
We come across hunters now and then, or pilgrims on the road. There are charcoal burners nearby. Sometimes they pass the time of day with us. But we've got no cause to cross the river. That's too close to Sasau.
А труп как раз на другой стороне от них. Еще увидимся.
I'd love...
Все равно белая. Нечего спрашивать, все равно белая. Так, чего здесь? Нот голове. Нормально. Ты тоже безымянный, да? И чё, блин, мне заходить придется?
The chief doesn't want to see you.
You've no business here. Clear off.
Ну иди сюда. Наконец он
I
подошел.
was told not to let you pass.
Is someone there? Hey, what do you think you're doing? Get the hell out of here.
Поговорить, что с тобой нельзя, дурак? Да. Ну, читаю журнал. Ничего тут не понятно. Всех тут выиграл, бла-бла-бла. Это я должен вернуть, то есть это общее задание. Ожерелье в лагере. Так, здесь мне нужно выяснить, кто убил. Я выиграл в турнире по игре в кости. И все награды мои я должен их забрать у Благи. Дал мне ключ. Может быть, это все-таки тот сундук. Просто там написано «украсть». Ну и здесь еще написано: мне удалось избежать переговоров с паном. То есть я же, по идее, не должен разговаривать. Блин, это Бланка. Я подумал, что это Благо. Так, ну давай я... Ну все. Ничего себе, нашел. Сейчас, когда я буду уходить, увидишь. Где я нашел? Фамильное ожерелье, Птачеков. Ожерелье. Но это ничего интересного. Все. Наконец-то. Вот охранник, тут спуск. Можно так проникнуть в лагерь. Вот где. Где играют. Вот туда пойдешь и все найдешь. Так, ну я со всеми поговорил. И... Знаешь, что я подумал? Вот это дворянские сапоги. У такого бича были, чтобы были дворянские сапоги, ну не знаю. И у него металлические кости. Красные такие, яркие. Поэтому вот я думаю о нем. Может быть, это сам, как его зовут, вот этот парниша. Потому что я пришел, и он тут как тут появился. Плюс, зачем карта в кострище? Типа, разбойники оставили бы карту в кострище, но это странно. Очень. Может быть, это он. Мне неизвестно, кто убийца. Я не то хотел сделать. Нашел убийцу. Шлюха сделала. Не уверен. Благо, Пихуна, Младота, Бланка, Башка. Младота. По костям, по сапогам. Узнал от убийцы. По костям.
I'll take care of it from here. And I owe you for helping me. Here, Henry, take this. I'm sorry I don't have more on me. But if you're ever in Prague, come and look me up, and I'll see you're well taken care of.
It's been a pleasure, Sir Anselm. Godspeed.
Шлем напялил. Типа свою шляпу отдал, что ли? Спасибо. Люблю скакать туда-сюда. Гуляет он тут. Ожерелье разделся, а он же в лагере был. И этот стражник сейчас опять не начнет. Где твой факел? Дебил. Достал ваше ожерелье.
Excellent news! I'm not going to ask you how you did it. Here's a reward for you. Now you can carry on with your next task. I want you to sneak the jewelry into Carolina's trunk along with this letter.
Can't I just hand them to her?
You cannot. Under no circumstances must she find out who sent them. Otherwise the whole secret admirer ploy is fucked. Oh, and by the way, Henry, watch out for the butcher. He keeps a very close eye on his daughter, and if he catches you sniffing around, well, may all the saints preserve you. Once you've delivered the things, wait a day, and then come back and see me.
God be with you.
What are you doing creeping around like a footpad?
Я же сказал. Прикольно, что да, мне дали ключ от сундука, чтобы я, ты понял, достал ожерелье. Но ключ так и остается у меня. И вот так, в принципе, я бегаю с ненужным хламом в инвентаре, в сумме своей, потому что оно нужно для того, чтобы выполнить там что-то определенное. На самом деле потом это все надо пожирать. Но оно становится бесполезным потом. Ну и как специально весь дом в замках. Все сложно, невозможно. Да даже такого нет у оружейника. Да ни у кого такого нет. Так, а какой ящик твой? Сундук. Вот этот? Он будет там как-нибудь называться, что это сундук Каролины или как там тебя назвать-то? Да, вот нашел. Положил. Так, кто-то там ходит. Мне нужно валить отсюда.
God be with you, lad.
Да-да-да, у меня новости.
I delivered the things as you asked.
I already know. My spies told me everything. She was wearing the necklace this morning, as I asked in the letter.
So you'll go to the rendezvous with her?
Certainly not. I'm not going to pounce on her like a bull in rutting season. Her feelings must be allowed to mature gradually. Meanwhile, you'll get a potion for me.
I thought you didn't believe in witches' brews.
This is no witch's brew. It's an absolutely tried and tested elixir called Musk of Infinite Allure. There's a fellow in Sassau who sells it and he guarantees its success.
Да, ладно.
Musk of Infinite Allure? Sounds irresistible. All right, I'll try and get it for you.
I'm sure I can rely on you. Here's some coin for your costs. God be with you.
Кажется, я знаю, у кого.
Well, who have we here?
Ah, the prodigal son returns.
Да я уже разговаривал с тобой.
You saw it in a dream?
I knew you were going to say that.
I had a dream of my own.
You too? So you learned something from me after all?
Yeah, it was just when I was getting pummeled by a mob of very irate villagers.
That unfortunate misunderstanding. What can you do?
Misunderstanding, yeah. I tried to explain that to them, but they were too busy kicking my arse to listen.
Я же уже разговаривал с ним. Ну ладно. А чему можно обучиться? Угу.
I've heard you know of some irresistibility potion or whatever it is.
Oh, naturally. Musk of Infinite Allure. An age-old recipe, maybe even older. Tested by Moses himself.
Moses?
How do you think he managed to get his people to follow him through the desert for 40 years? It's extremely potent.
Yeah, so it would seem. How much do you want for it?
Who do you take me for? The wisdom of the ancients isn't something that's bought and sold in the marketplace. Did Jesus charge for his miracles? But since you ask, how about this much?
2000. Да у меня куча денег.
That's not much.
Really? All right, double then.
What? Why? You... why do I even bother?
If you like, I can mix the elixir for you in exchange for a small favor.
Oh, not again.
Now, is that any tone to use with your master? For shame.
Apologies, master. I was carried away by my thirst for knowledge.
I understand your impatience, but the way to wisdom is narrow and arduous.
And leads out the window.
Насчет рецепта.
About that recipe.
Yes, you want to buy it?
4000. Окей, надо сбегать за деньгами. Все.
Yes, I need it right away.
I understand. I'm sure you'll be more than satisfied with it.
But I won't be drinking it, fortunately.
Все равно можно выполнить это задание. Я хотел избежать этого, типа реализовать свои деньги хоть как-нибудь под конец игры. Но раз так...
So what is it you want from me now?
Oh, my dear apprentice, everything's gone to the devil. I'm living from hand to mouth, sleeping on straw. and the local peasants won't buy from me. They say they don't trust me, as if I were some kind of charlatan. Can you believe it? Does this look to you like the face of a swindler? I'm an honest trader in sacred goods, whose only concern is the welfare of troubled souls. And any time now the slanderous gossip will spread here from Sassau. I should leave before things get worse. But I can't go anywhere until I've made a bit of coin. So what's needed is to give the locals a bit of encouragement, to open their hearts and purses.
Никакого насилия.
I'm not going to go around beating people for you.
What do you take me for? I wouldn't hurt a fly. Violence is for the dull-witted. We must gently demonstrate to them the necessity of buying my...
Чувак справа сидит
For example,
ниже скамейки.
to ward off a revenant.
Revenant? What revenant?
The dead return from the grave. A corpse that the soul is unable to depart from, which wanders among the living, filled with rage at its wretched fate.
Yeah, I saw something like that once. But it was just some drunk going home from the tavern after losing all his money at dice.
Don't make light of such things. Now tell me, do you know how to deal with a revenant?
Отрубить голову, побурить святой водой, поджечь или отлить осиновый кол, серебряная стрела, насыпать ему маковых зерен в могилу, чеснок и распятие.
Garlic and a crucifix should be enough, right?
Those are things everyone should have, to repel malign spirits and other evils. You are my trained apprentice, but the ignorant villagers
Я думаю, неважно, что бы я
are at a
ответил.
loss how to deal with such dark forces. It is our sacred duty to prepare them for such threats.
And how do you propose to do that?
Well, they're all doubting Thomases. They need proof. We'll need a grave, an empty grave that we can use. There's one along the way to Sassau, but it's got one minor shortcoming.
What's that?
Well, it's not entirely empty.
Not entirely? What does that mean?
You have to dig it up first.
Почему именно эта могила?
Why this particular grave?
The locals don't like to talk about it, so it's surely got some sinister past behind it. And in places like that, revenants sprout up like mushrooms after rain.
Well, if that's how it is, we could open old wounds. That could easily set people against us. Again.
Then it would be best if no one could connect us to it, wouldn't it?
Ну, мне нужна лопата.
I'll need a spade then.
Yes, dig it up and remove the remains, leaving no trace.
And what am I to do with the remains?
Keep them. Human remains are always handy to have around.
Great. And how do we spread the word of this revenant?
There's a gossip in every village. Here too, a woman who'll spread news quicker than a dozen messengers on the fastest steeds.
И что я должен буду ей сказать?
And what am I to tell this gossip?
All you have to do is casually mention the empty grave, and before evening, I'll wager the whole village will know about it.
Where does this woman live?
The last house on the left, on the road to Sassau. She was the first person I met here, and by the time I reached the village green, I already had a mob looking suspiciously at me. The rumor-mongering fishwife.
And that's all?
Not quite. You should ask her who was buried there. So we've got a story to work with.
So, dig up the grave, talk to the gossip.
And the remains. Don't forget to remove them. Otherwise, no one will believe in the revenant.
I might have known any task for Capon would turn into some insane escapade. Grave robbing. Jesus.
Good luck then.
Я уже был там. Ее нельзя было копать. Если я правильно помню. Раскапывать нельзя было. И Вот, это здесь. Так, где она? Вроде она наверху. Ну я еще подумал, может быть, не надо копать. Но мне не показывают эту бабенцию, но я не хочу ее ходить, искать сплетницу. Ну, взять сплетницу, рассказать и все, что будут ходить проверять, что ли. Ну ладно, похер. Тебе просто все кости собрать можно. Ладно. Так, теперь обратно. Поговори с сплетницей. Со сплетницей. Вот она, сплетница, ее так и зовут.
I'll be with you, good wife. Has something happened here?
Heavens no. It's quiet here, unlike some other places.
And what about that empty grave?
What empty grave would that be now?
The one beyond the village, alongside the road to Sasau. Just by the river, on the Pine Headland.
How would you know it's empty? Unless it was dug up.
Oh, it's dug up, all right. Freshly. And empty. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
Lord in heaven, what in the name of...
How come it's not in hallowed ground, anyway? Only unrepentant sinners are buried like that. Usually.
I don't like to say. It's an old wound that's best forgotten.
Whose grave is it?
Well, once a long time ago there was a young charcoal burner living here with his wife. There was always a lot of charcoal burners here, but this fellow worked alone. That's not an easy job for one man.
No one wanted to work with him, or what?
Ah, he was a hard-headed fellow who always wanted to take care of his family himself.
Всем нужна компания.
Well, only then you've no one to blame but yourself if you end up alone.
His wife was expecting, though no one knew it yet. And he wasn't doing well at all. Soon enough they had nothing to eat. And so he took to thieving.
Представляю, что он чувствовал.
Well, I can understand him. To watch your family suffer like that. What could he do when they were going hungry?
If we'd known how badly off they was, folk would have helped out. But he kept his troubles to himself.
And did he get caught?
Well, at first it was just a few eggs going missing from people's hen coops. But then it was anything that wasn't nailed down. And in the end, they caught him.
And I suppose he was harshly punished for it.
Even then he didn't let on why he was doing it. They whipped the skin off his back and banished him from Leditchko.
So justice was done then?
It wasn't enough for some folk. When the butcher found out he'd never get any compensation, he wanted them to chop off the charcoal burner's hands. If the bailiff hadn't talked sense into him, he'd have done it himself with his cleaver.
Well, he got off lightly enough then.
And in the end, he got what was coming to him, and more.
The butcher caught up with him?
No, no. It was the mills of God turning slowly but surely. His wife bled to death in childbirth, and the child died with her.
Печально.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Кто там воет
But at
постоянно?
least he knew they were gone to a better place.
True, lad.
Nothing could have been done to save them.
There was no one there. He had no one who would care for his wife. They say on that day, he parted ways with God forever. And he turned his back on the village too. I reckon he never forgave himself. Nor us, either.
The Lord moves in mysterious ways. But how did he end up?
Don't ask me that, lad. I beg you.
Ну же, расскажи.
Come now, good wife. You can't leave the story unfinished.
I said no. Will you let it lie?
Мразь старая. Так, чего здесь? Поговори с шарлатаном. Короче, понятно, что был вором, и по обстоятельствам определенным он стал таким, кем стал. Трагическая судьба углежога.
I know who was buried in that grave. A young charcoal burner.
So begins the tragic tale of the young charcoal burner who became entangled with the devil himself.
Oh, don't start. What devil? I'm trying to tell you. He was from Ledetchko. He was trying to eke out a living for himself and his wife, but he couldn't manage. When she fell pregnant, he took to stealing.
Pride drove him from the straight and narrow path, and soon he sold his soul to the devil to fill his stomach.
They caught him and punished him, but some of the people he'd robbed didn't think it was enough. Then when his wife died in childbirth, and the child too, he blamed everyone for it. Even God, apparently.
But when the time came to pay his debt to hell, the devil had no use for his soul, and took his wife and child instead. The charcoal burner cursed God, who struck him down in righteous vengeance. But the dead man's soul never left his body. He came back as a revenant to vent his rage at God and men and take vengeance on the living.
Jesus, did you listen to what I said at all?
Sorry, did you say something?
Oh, never mind. What do you want me to do with it?
Well, the question is, what would the revenant do to get revenge on the villagers? Well, apprentice?
Он крал еду, мясник, его жена умерла, он проклял Господа. Его жена умерла, крал еду.
He was stealing food from people, right? So, supposing he started again.
We should steal from people? Disgraceful. Have you no shame?
Maybe just a few eggs from hen coops, like the gossip mentioned.
Well, that wouldn't be too serious a sin. Will they put it down to the revenant, though?
They would, if I put some charcoal there instead.
And their nourishment he turned into ash.
Мясник.
The gossip mentioned the butcher. It seems he was infuriated that the charcoal burner's punishment was too lenient.
And the revenant spoiled their meat with his malign touch.
How's that?
Spoiled meat is a classic example of a revenant's power.
I thought it was the work of bad butchers.
That too, sometimes.
So, I should switch the good meat for bad at the butcher's.
But make sure it's the same kind of meat. Not even a revenant will turn a cow into a chicken.
Его жена умерла.
What about his wife and child? No doubt he'd want to avenge their death.
Well, how did they die?
In childbirth.
And when his love turned to rage, the water turned to blood. Nothing too original. But it's tried and tested. If you do it at the baths, everyone will hear of it.
How am I supposed to do that? It might be a bit suspicious if I'm seen walking around with a pail of blood.
No problem. There's a certain potion that will do the trick easily.
He cursed God. That's very serious.
What is it that most brings God to mind?
They don't have a church there. But everyone will have a rosary. I can't think of anything else.
That's it! If folks start losing their rosaries, they'll have sleepless nights over it.
You want me to steal rosaries? But that's...
Or just exchange them.
For what?
For nothing.
Great.
So, switch eggs for charcoal, switch the meat, color the water in the baths, and switch the rosaries. That ought to do it. I hope so. Of course, if you come up with anything else, don't let me hold you back. Talking to people might give you ideas. Traders, the bailiff.
Well, what if someone sees me in the act?
They mustn't. Otherwise, it'll end up like Sasau all over again. Don't draw attention to yourself, or they'll put two and two together.
Sure. I'll keep my head down. And how will I know if I've succeeded? I doubt it'll be announced on the market square.
I'll be the first to know. They'll come running to me for a remedy, like hens at feeding time. Off you go and raise hell.
Окей.
Right, I'll get to it then.
Take care.
Да.
From you?
What on earth for?
По поводу останков ему решил сказать.
Those can be valuable goods. What do you say?
Он их купить хочет. Хочу предать земле, их не продам. Да нафиг они мне нужны.
I'll sell them to you.
Splendid.
Are we agreed?
That's better. Take care.
Так, что там еще за диалоги? Зелье для превращения воды в кровь.
What's the recipe for that potion you were talking about?
You mean for coloring the water? Ah, well...
Well?
Pay close attention now.
I'm all ears.
How love turned to bloodshed. Once there was a knight who, though upright and noble-looking, had a prickly, unapproachable appearance. He fell in love with a fragile young maid, whom he saw with her sisters in a field, all wearing bright red wimples. But he was afraid his prickly exterior would frighten her. So he asked the advice of another knight, a pious and learned crusader, who carried the name of the patron saint of his order with pride. The pious knight told him he would arrange a rendezvous with the maid. All three would drink wine together by the river, and he would help his friend to get acquainted with her. This they did, but the maid fell in love instead with the pious knight. The stern knight was enraged and challenged his rival to a duel. The two fought long and fiercely, but they were equally matched. And so, in the end, they both fell mortally wounded, anguished at the tragedy her beauty had caused. The young maid took a dagger from one of the knights and plunged it into her own heart. Their bodies lay together on the ground, and the blood flowed from them into the river, turning the waters crimson.
I thought you were going to tell me the recipe, not some fable.
It is the recipe. I mean, the recipe is concealed in the story.
What on earth for?
So I don't forget it.
All right. So what does it mean?
I can't remember.
Great. So if you don't know, who does?
You'll figure it out, my loyal apprentice. I remember there are 3 plants in the story, but that's about all. But I know it was a simple recipe. It should be enough to grind the ingredients and brew them together for one turn. So, all you have to do is work out what the ingredients are from the story.
Sure. Why make things simple if you can complicate them?
Да уж. Решил попробовать сначала сварить аромат неотразимости. Нужен пещерный гриб, шалфей, календула, окопник. Все в единичном экземпляре. Нужно налить воды, измельчить шалфей, бросить его в котелок, кипятить в течение 3 оборотов, добавить календулу и окопник и кипятить в течение 1 оборота и добавить пещерный гриб, но не кипятить. Все. Там, кстати, не написано, если я правильно запомнил, что нужно делать в конце. Просто заливаешь из котелка. Не надо дистиллировать. Так. А это задание, кстати, осталось. Но с другой стороны, нужно ли его выполнять? Ну не, конечно же, я выполню. Попробую. Но сначала отвезу зелье Птачеку, что он там дальше скажет мне. Здорово.
Greeting.
Достал зелье.
I got you that potion from the charlatan.
What charlatan? He's a man of learning who even cured the Pope of impotence. But thanks, Henry. I really appreciate your help.
Once I drink this potion, every woman will faint at my feet. But I'm only interested in one.
The fairest creature on God's green earth.
Yeah, the butcher's daughter, I know. And then what?
A rendezvous. She and I, under the cloak of night. And you shall be my herald of exalted words. You will hide and prompt me from a book of poetry.
I'll do what?
Here's a book of poems. I'll need a little time to get ready. Meanwhile, you can learn some poems off by heart. You'll prompt me.
Learn poetry? Me? That sounds... Well, not exactly.
Stop wasting time and get to it. Come back to me in a couple of hours. I have to get dressed up and groomed, and it'll take a while before the potion takes effect. Take care.
Ну, понятно. Походу, надо будет учить. Подожди, пока он будет готов. Ночь нежна, не познать любви своей и о женщинах. И это задание не исчезло. Надо будет выполнять.